Your Humanities Half Hour is brought to you by the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.
Welcome to Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry. As we say here in the Marianas, tourism is everybody's business, and we're chatting today with the Marianas Tourism Education Council. It's my pleasure to welcome Acting Chairwoman Vicky Benavente and Board Member Glenn Policare. Guys, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Half Day, Catherine. Thank you for having us.
Half Day, good morning. Thank you, Catherine.
So maybe you could start us off with how MTech got started. Vicky, you were there in the beginning, right? What was the impetus?
I sure was there. We were at the Marianas Visitors Authority under the direction of then Managing Director Jonas Ogren, and he sat there and he said, you know, Vic, there's a lot of things we can do with the tourism industry, but let's get our kids involved. And that's how he said, okay, let's get our kids involved. How do we get our kids involved? And that's when we said, let's get MVA membership involved. So we put together a group of private sector companies such as the PIC, Ernst & Young, and we also got together with several government entities, which included the schools, the PSS, Public School System, the Northern Marianas College, and we got together and said, okay, here we go. Let's form this council.
Was DFS part of that also?
And Duty Free, that's right. DFS T. Galleria was there from the very beginning. Thanks for reminding me of that, Glenn.
I don't want Marian coming up to us later going, remember me?
Right.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
What actually is the mission of MTech?
So the mission of MTech is to educate the community about the importance of our tourism industry, especially the youth. We believe that when you teach the kids at a young age how important their role is, they get it. You know, they say, okay, so it's important. We have to get our kids involved, show them their role, and then as they grow up into adults, they get involved with not just the tourism industry, but with the industry of taking care of our islands, the environmental aspect of it, the economy, all kinds of things they can get involved with.
Because they really are the future of the industry.
Absolutely. And I think part of the mission also is the way that we're able to flex our format and message to the different age groups. So part of our approach is when we do the educational outreach, and where the MTech members will go to the schools and teach kids what their role is, how they're able to contribute. But talking to a third grader is much different than talking to a 10th grader.
Now, I understand that you work closely with the MBA. Well, I should know, I'm on the board. Disclaimer here, I'm actually on the MTech board. So what exactly is the partnership that you have with MBA working together with the government to take this message forward?
Right. So as I mentioned, 20 years ago when we got together at the Marianas Visitors Authority office, the then managing director got our membership together, we got our private sector companies together, and of course we got our public sector entities together, as I mentioned earlier, NMC and PSS. Without them and MVA's cooperation, the MTech wouldn't have gotten started. And to this day, 20 years later, the MVA board is so supportive of the MTech's initiatives and goals and objectives. We're very appreciative of that. The MVA and its membership, that's what keeps us going.
So, Glenn, you were alluding to this. Probably the biggest undertaking of MTech during the year are these school presentations made jointly with the MBA. Vicky, you kind of have initiated this when you became the chairperson, was it 6 or 7 years ago? Why did you feel this approach was important for educating our community overall?
Well, I figure when you're old already, right, you can't really teach a older person your tricks, but when you're a kid,
yourself,
right,
girl.
Speak for myself. But when you're a kid and we approach it with the education outreach program, I found that many of the kids that we had approached when they were young grew up and said, hey, I'm going to go work in the hotels. I'm going to go work as a waiter, entry-level jobs, which were at one point in time not very respected, but now it's like, I've got a job, I'm learning this craft, I can do better, I can do more as I get older and more experienced or more educated. So that's why the focus changed from the adult community to the youth at large.
Now, you both have been very involved in actually being a part of these presentations at the school. Glenn, what has your experience been, and what do you see, having been involved for a few years now, the impact on the kids are they interested in tourism?
Well, I think a couple of the interesting things that I find is as an adult and as a person who's been able to, I've worked hard for where I am and I'm allowed to do things that I do now, is to ask these kids where they've been on the island, what restaurants they've eaten at, what places they visited. And as a tourist destination, one thing that is really amazing, especially at the high school level, is the places that some of these kids haven't been. So it's amazing to open up the eyes of the kids, especially the youth that maybe have never been to Manigaha or Forbidden Island, or, most of them have been to the grotto and to some of the places that are a little bit more accessible. But to open their eyes, to show them that people from around the world come to Saipan to enjoy just an amazing vacation, and this is where they live. And I really like to see kids get out there and experience those restaurants, those nooks, those places that this is their backyard. Go check it out. I think that's one thing that still, even to this day, really surprises me when we do the presentations.
Have you found through the years that the students you're speaking to have a better awareness of the industry through the efforts that MTech has been undertaking?
In my opinion, yes, because having gone through the 3 different grade levels, by the time you get to 10th grade, a lot of them you can see that kind of spark or that light bulb going off, that they do understand the role they play and the opportunities that are out there. Absolutely, I think so.
I would agree. Also, being able to participate in those presentations. In the beginning, we would ask the kids, why is tourism important? How does it benefit you? And it would be, very little response or no response. And now you'll hear somebody call it jobs or, economy. And so, yeah.
And I think it's the persistence, because we've been doing this for a long time. And now, again, I honestly don't remember how long I've been a board member, but I have seen an increase in participation at the presentations now. Is that you do ask those questions, and it's not crickets out there anymore. They do understand. And there's a ton of opportunity out there, and I'm glad they're starting to realize that they have so many chances to inject themselves into this industry, and we're just happy to kind of show them what's available.
Let's talk a little bit about another key partner for MTech's efforts, which are the MyWave clubs in the schools. What are they?
The MyWave clubs, MyWave stands for Marianas Youth Welcome All Visitors Enthusiastically. MyWave. These are the clubs that are basically they're tourism clubs that are started in grades 3rd grade to 12th grade in the public schools and private schools. And it's the advisors there, the key people who get these clubs started and going. So a big shout out to all the MyWave club advisors in the schools. They get their students together, they meet, they plan on activities, field trips, and even trips off island. And that's one thing we were talking about, how the kids were just finally experiencing a meal at a hotel. Well, how about a kid just first time getting on an airplane and traveling to Guam or Korea or Japan? Those are lifelong experiences that will never be forgotten. And so we're appreciative for that, for the MyWave clubs.
In addition to those you mentioned, are there any other activities that you are aware the MyWave clubs are undertaking, either to educate expose their students to tourism or to support tourism?
I think many of the activities that the MyWave clubs start out with is like beach cleanups. They go to the beaches and really take an interest in taking care of our environment, not just at the beaches, but also in their homes, in their neighborhoods, in their backyards. You start at home, right? And so when the kids understand that to have a tourist come over to our islands, it's because they know our islands are going to be clean and safe and with very friendly people who live here.
The thing that I really appreciate about the MyWave clubs, this is a former organizer, event organizer and promoter, is when I need supporters, when I need volunteers, when I need people at the finish line at an island-wide event to just yell and scream and cheer, it's the MyWave clubs that show up in droves. To have a visitor from Australia or Korea or Japan cross the finish line and there's 50 MyWave kids just going out of their minds over there, that's what I think they start to make that connection of how important of a role they really play.
And some of the MyWave clubs, they go to the port when ships come in and they welcome them and with their music and dance. Some MyWave clubs, go to Manigaha and they sing and dance there. And so they really go out and reach out to our tourists and say, hey, we're from Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, and we welcome you and we wish you a great time and hope you can come back with more visitors. So that's the key.
And coming up on January 19th, this week, will be the MTech Tourism Summit, gathering MyWave students. We're going to talk more about that in the second half of our show. But one of the things I really appreciate about the council is that not only did we kind of task the schools to form these clubs, but you give financial support both to the club itself and to the advisors. Let's start off with the advisors. Why did you feel it was important to provide some kind of stipend to the advisors, and how does it work?
Well, it's very important that we support the advisors because they're doing this MyWave Club activity on their own time. It's after school. It involves, probably sometimes buying supplies or crafts materials or even gasoline to go on a field trip. The advisors are key to keeping the kids involved and interested in tourism. And so the MTech board came up with a stipend of $100 per month per advisor, specifically 2 advisors per school. So it's a small program, but we hope that it helps, and I think we have been helping some advisors with regards to the expenses involved in forming a MyWave Club in the schools. Because
a lot of advisors for many clubs pay for things out of pocket.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And how about the support opportunities that you provide to the clubs for some of these activities that you mentioned?
Well, MTech is very involved with getting sponsorship, for example, for ground transportation, for bus transportation, and also we have great support from the Hotel Association of the NMI. Whenever the MyWave Club kids want to, say, visit a hotel and see how operations are run from the front desk or inside the kitchen area, it's a great opportunity for them to see the inside and back of the house areas of our tourism industry, and not just the front of the house, where they see them coming off the airplane or getting off a ship. And the kids have a chance to go into the hotels and restaurants and actually see what kind of jobs are out there and what kind of opportunities they may have starting out in the industry.
And it's been really nice, I would say, to see some of the young people that we spoke to at the school presentations who were in the MyWave Club now in leadership positions in the local hotels and whatnot.
That's right. I always get a kick out of meeting students who say, "Hey, Miss Vicky, I was in the MyWave Club in 4th grade, and now they're working at the Saipan Chamber of Commerce, or they're working at the Hyatt Regency Saipan, or they're working at an airline." And that's something that's so wonderful to me to know that these kids, we planted a seed when they were 9 or 10 years old. And then when they became young adults, they said, okay, I'm going to go get a job. I'm going to work in the industry because I know that tourism is important. And again, that message, tourism is everybody's business.
No, and just to echo what Vicky said also, it's great to help these kids out because some of them they have some very ambitious roles also. I know that we've supported some MyWave clubs to go to Guam for the tourism summit over there. We've supported uniforms. So the advisors are so crucial to the success of this program, and it's great that we do have the funds and means to be able to support them on some sort of level.
We're talking today about the Marianas Tourism Education Council, and we'll be back after this.
I Northern Marianas Humanities Council bulaguinahanya puri historian Marianas dan kultura. Sinyon soda esisihanan formasyon gi zon mami website nmhcouncil.org. Pat bisita gi YouTube pat Facebook. Guahalokwe diferentes klasen leblu na sinya unfan. I Northern Marianas Humanities Council Hazuzura todo I experiencia tautau. Welcome
back to your Humanities Half Hour. We're talking today with the acting chairwoman of the Marianas Tourism Education Council, Vicky Benavente, and also board member Glenn Policare. Guys, you are both professionals with jobs, with families, and yet you find time to put into MTech. Why is this important for you?
Well, for me, I've been involved with MTech for 20 years, since it first started in 2002. It's important to me because I can see the value that it has for our community, specifically for the kids. As I mentioned earlier, teaching them at a young age what their role is in our tourism industry teaches them responsibility. It teaches them to understand the importance of our environment and many other things. So that's why I keep involved.
It's just, I love God, I love everything about this. I love our group. I love what we do. But most importantly, I do try and travel quite a bit. And when I see the hospitality on the outside, to be able to try and translate that to some of the kids here on this island, because it is so crucial that we put our best foot forward. And I really feel that we do have an impact on the success of the island, success of tourism travels through, and to be able to give these kids an opportunity to better themselves moving forward.
And if I may, Kat, give a shout out to the MTech board, including yourself, Director Catherine Perry. We also have Directors Naomi Nishimura from the PSS, Public School System. We have Dr. Galvin Guerrero from the Northern Marianas College. We have Gordon Marciano. I need not say anything more about Gordon. He's well known. And we also have Martin Duenas from the Marianas Visitors Authority. And we have Larry Lee, who's also been a board member from the beginning. Have I gotten everyone? Martin, Larry.
We can't forget Jack.
Oh my gosh, of course, MVA support staff, Jack Arenda. Shout out to Jack.
Absolutely. And you know what's so funny, talking about passion, you actually tried to resign as chairman like 3 or 4 years ago, and we were like, no, we need you, our fearless leader. And so you graciously took on the title of acting chairman, which basically meant you kept all of the responsibilities. But that just goes to show how much you love this work.
I would be nothing without the board members. And I have to also point out, you're all volunteers. So we are working together towards the industry's success and towards our economy's success. So thank you for that, Catherine. I enjoy being acting chairman. It's not a paid role. It's not a compensated role. But you know what? I get rewarded in many other ways. I'm very, very blessed with this group of directors. Thank you.
Well, you have an exciting event coming up on the 19th, the MTech Tourism Summit, which we haven't actually had since before COVID. And I know the kids get really excited about this. What is this summit all about?
We've hosted the summit for a number of years now, and it's an amazing time to get the My Wave clubs together. We usually host it at one of the hotels that we have here on island. We invite a number of guest speakers, and we've had some very, very high-profile guest speakers in the past. We've had former president of Palau, Tommy Romangasao. We've had the TripAdvisor Asia director liaison who had come out as well. We've had members of the tourism industry from Guam come over, and it's a great chance to show kids, not just to hear it from us, who they see us at the education outreach all the time, but they'll see it from a different perspective, people that are in the industry, to show them how important it is. So we've got guest speakers, we've got activities. Obviously, the kids are well fed as well. And this really it sparks to the beginning kind of our season every year is to come up with a theme every year. And Vicky, what's our theme this year?
Our theme is We're Back with Respect for our land, our people, and our guests. So we're back, meaning, as you mentioned, Catherine, we have been out of it for a few years due to the coronavirus pandemic, but now we're back, and we're going to keep reminding our kids that we've always been a culture of respect. We've always been a culture that loves our land, and we've always been a culture, and I hope to always remain a culture, to respect people who come from other lands, from other destinations, and they want to experience our island hospitality, our island beauty. It's just all tied into tourism.
One of the things I love about our theme this year is it really ties into what makes us special as a destination, and it's that feeling people get when they come here, that they're welcomed, that they're safe, and that personal connection, I think, that people can find here in Saipan and Aurora that you may not find necessarily in other beach resort destinations. You know, it's that personal connection that comes from that cultural value of respect.
Absolutely.
100%.
So, what's planned for the day?
Wow, it's going to be a very, very busy day. We've got 3 guest speakers lined up, which I'm very, very excited to hear from. We've got Dr. Bobby Cruz, we've got Gordon Marciano, and we also have this would be one of our newer speakers also from the 500 Sales Organization. It's Kunhi Han, I believe, and I apologize if I'm butchering her name.
No, that was right.
I work with Kunhi with the lifeguard program, so I hope I got that right. So we've got guest speakers lined up, we've got activities for the kids as well, and it's just a great day to really reinforce what we do, why they do what they do. And Kensington has been gracious enough to host this year. It's going to be good to see what they put together for as far as the venue goes.
And then we usually have exhibitors who are somehow tied to the industry, that there's a time in the program where the kids will be able to go and hear from them. Who are some of our exhibitors this year?
Definitely. With the exhibits, it all ties in with the Summit's tourism logo, or slogan, So the exhibits include the Anamai Museum, the Mariana Islands Nature Alliance, better known as MENA. We also have the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife. We have Coastal Resources Management. 500 cells will be there. And, of course, our educational partners, NMC and PSS, will also be exhibiting their products and materials.
I like the thought that went into who the guest speakers would be. Of course, Gordon Marciano with PDI Tour Company. Everybody knows him as that cultural go-to person in the industry. And Kunhi with 500 Sales, again, tied to the culture. And then Dr. Bobby Cruz, I know that one of the reasons we wanted to bring him in, he's now with the public school system's mental health office, is really, the kids have been through so much, and really, if we want to welcome other people, it's important to be healthy within ourselves, right? The love has to come from inside, right? So I'm also very excited to see how he ties it into what our message is, the concept of taking care of ourselves so that we can also take care of others.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree, especially because, coming through the past few years, we were very blessed with really the overall numbers that we had here as far as COVID goes. And some countries were extremely impacted. And so for visitors to kind of open themselves up and feel safe again, they're coming to a place that really has been safe for the majority part of the time as far as just overall raw numbers go. And Dr. Bobby Cruz, having sat in on a number of his seminars, is going to be a great installment and introduction to these kids to really show what it takes to take care of number one before you can take care of our guests.
There's something very contagious about having 300 screaming school kids in a venue, excited about tourism. We're looking forward to that. But what is it you hope they'll walk away with after the summit?
Well, for me, I hope the kids walk away with a feeling that I'm important in Saipan. I'm important in Naroda. I'm an important person because I'm going to take part in taking care of my island. And in that respect, taking care of our islands will make our visitors want to come here because of the beauty and the pristine nature of our islands. So the kids will understand how important they are, each and every one of them. All 300 screaming kids will know that message when they leave the summit.
And some of the exhibitors and guest speakers. Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, no, absolutely. And it's actually, hopefully it's going to be closer to 350 kids this time around, which I'm really looking forward to. But like Vicky said, is the kids understand that what they do as individuals is important. And this is a chance for them to get together and see all of the other clubs on the island. This is really the only chance they get to see of what, the North does, the South does, what Tini and Naroda do, for them to get together and go, wow, there's other clubs out there doing this. If every person does just a little bit, it adds up to a lot. And it's a huge impact. And I think that's what we want them to walk away with.
And big thanks to board member Larry Lee for chairing the committee for this year's summit. Anything else you want to add on the summit, or shall we move on to the next item?
I say we move on to the next item.
Which is, this year you are starting, you've held essay contests in the past, photo contests in the past, and this year it's an app challenge. How did this idea come about, and how is it working?
So what happened was Dr. G over at NMC, this is something he's done. He's one of our newest board members, and he came to us with just so many ideas and so much energy and enthusiasm. And I remember this very clearly. We're wrapping up our meeting at the old MBA offices. Is there anything new? And Dr. G he couldn't sit still and said, how about an app challenge? It's something that he's done for quite some time. It's actually something done on the national level as well. So what we've done is we've put it out there to the kids here in Saipan to put together an app. And it's not, evidently after doing a little bit of digging, it's not as hard as we thought it is. So the kids are going to put an app together. They're going to put a presentation together to show us how the app works and really why it's important, what application they'll be able to put forward to showcase the island of Saipan, whether it be tourist destinations, restaurants, beaches, whatever it is. For when tourists come to Saipan, they can open up this app and easily navigate the way around the island. It's the first time we've done something like this. It's technologically current with what's happening out there. So we're going to be reinforcing the challenge at the Tourism Summit coming up next week, and I can't wait to see what some of these kids can come up with.
And just to remind everyone, the app challenge is for middle school and high school students. So it's a chance for them to, focus their 21st century skills and design an app that helps our tourism industry in the CNMI. I'm really excited because I know that kids love technology, and we do have some cash prizes that will be awarded to the team leaders. So first place is $500, second is $300, and third place is $200. So we're hoping that we get a lot of app applications or app submissions for this contest. We have a press release out there that shows the contact information, which is Ms. Yunzi Zhang at the Marianas, Northern Marianas College, or Jack Aranda at the MVA.
Right, and if you'd like the full details, you can go to the MBA website at mymarianas.com and just search App Challenge, and all that information should come up. And, it's also a team thing, up to 3 people. So say you've got one person who's good with technology, one who's good with writing, and one who's good with pictures, maybe. I'm seeing a winner in that combination.
Sure, absolutely. I can't wait.
Another thing that MTech does is offer a scholarship to seniors. Tell us about that.
Right. For several years now, the MTech board has issued out a press release about a scholarship that's available to a high school senior who has been involved with the MyWave Club at least a couple of years in their high school education. So the scholarship is about $2,000 per person, and I'm so proud to say that our first and our only scholarship recipient, Miss Raina Fayaniga, who was a MyWave Club president since she was in middle school out through high school, had received the scholarship when she graduated from Saipan Southern High School, went off to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, received her BA degree, and she's just completed a master's degree. So a big shout out to Raina Faye for her involvement with the MyWave Clubs throughout her young life.
So we are a nonprofit. We don't have a lot of money, but it's a little bit that can go to books or something like that, and it's really the thought of investing in our future. I think that's behind the initiative. We couldn't do this alone. Is there anybody you'd like to thank? I know you did mention the MBA. Mm-hmm.
Well, definitely we are our founding members, the college, the public school system, the MVA, and the members, the Pacific Islands Club Saipan, DFST Galleria, the Hotel Association of the Northern Mariana Islands. I mean, all of MVA's members understand the importance of tourism. That's why they're members of the MVA. But it's with their support, and of course this wonderful MTech Council board who volunteer their time. Every month we get together and hammer out what's our activities, what's our year-long objectives and goals, and especially to you, Director Catherine and Director Glenn Policare, for putting in all that effort, and Jack Aranda from MVA for the educational presentations at the schools. These are taking up your time and energy and putting out there that information that we repeat and revise and fine-tune every year for their kids to understand their role and understand why it's important to take care of our islands.
There's so many people I want to thank, but there's 2 specific groups. One, I really want to thank the hotels for always opening their doors to us. Whenever we want to come do a tour, back of the house tour, whether we want to come and sing Christmas carols, they've always been very, very receptive. And also, we cannot do this without the advisors. They are the unsung heroes of them getting the kids together, getting excited, putting the activities together. Without them, these clubs would not do nearly as well as they are. So advisors, thank you so much for being who you are.
So we covered the council, the members of MVA, the advisors. I'd also like to give a big shout out to the parents of these kids who allow their kids to go on these field trips, to allow them to join MyWave Clubs, and even to lead MyWave Clubs, Catherine. We can't do it without the help of the families.
Absolutely. Where can people contact MTech if they're interested in learning more or supporting your efforts?
They can contact the Marianas Visitors Authority. We have a director there, Mr. Martin Duenas, and of course his staff, Jack Aranda, and they're able to provide MVA information regarding MTech or the MyWave Clubs.
Well, and now that Vicky has also stepped down from her role as Secretary of Labor, you can call Vicky directly at 285-VICKY. Just kidding. No, please give MVA a call. They're happy happy to point us in the right direction. And that's not Vicky's number. Don't call that number.
Yeah. Guys, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you. Any final thoughts before we go?
I'm looking forward to the summit. This, like I said, we've been out of it for a couple of years, so I can't wait to see the look on those kids' faces, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Just final thought, tourism is everybody's business. It continues to be everybody's business, both in the private sector and in the public sector. So thank you to everyone in the community who's always supported the MVA and the MTech for 20 years. It's our 20th year, so I'm excited to see what will happen on Thursday, January 19th at the Tourism Summit. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We've been chatting today with the acting chairwoman, Vicky Benavente, and board member Glenn Policare of MTech, the Marianas Tourism Education Council. And I think we would agree that we can end with
tourism is everybody's business.
This has been Your Humanities Half Hour. I'm Catherine Perry.
Your Humanities Half Hour is a production of the Northern Marianas Humanities Council, funded in part by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Any views, findings, or recommendations expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities or the Northern Marianas Humanities Council.